All right, with the sunrise over my shoulder, guess I'm gonna throw my thoughts of last night, the Trump rally. I guess the first thing I posted on my Facebook account after I got out was two things in my life that I've done that were interesting, but I never need to do again. First one being I went to a bullfight in Ecuador back in, I don't know, mid 2000s. It's part of a Habitat for Humanity trip, and I don't know, I guess I was naive, didn't really know what to expect. Didn't realize the bull dies, man. It's I ended up, I was rooting for the bull, and everybody else obviously was not, but I was hoping the bull was going to win. But I never have to go to another bullfight the rest of my life. I've experienced it once, and I think someone would have to convince me pretty hard to participate in another one. And actually, yeah, at this point in my life, it's never happening again. I'm never going to another bullfight. Just when I thought about it a few years ago, last time I thought about going to another bullfight, I would have considered it in the right circumstances. Anyway, yeah, never going to another bullfight my entire life. Hopefully they stop having them. And I think they kind of are. I mean, they're pretty gruesome sight. So the other thing I never need to do again, oh, that's pretty cool with the flag, is to go to a Trump rally. Be honest with you, I like to see the good in people and all of that, and I wanted to like him. Although I kind of don't, but I do support a lot of his conservative ideas and stuff, and he's a fighter, and I do like that about him. But I've only watched one other complete speech that he made, and I thought that was horrible misery to sit there and listen to him that long. So I guess I think it was only an hour. And that other speech was the speech he made on January 6th. And I watched it mostly because I wanted to compare the notes of the real speech compared to what you see in the media. And honestly, my biggest concern is what reality is compared to what the media tells you. And I still have very significant concerns of that. Although my experience last night, I don't know how to sum it up. I'm going to try to sum it up quick because I don't want to make long videos on political subjects and stuff, at least not at this point. Plus, I don't know exactly if being a jack of all and not a master of the political side. Yeah, I don't really know if my political thoughts are all that applicable, but in some respects I think they're more applicable because anybody I sit there and watch that's really into the political stuff, they almost all disgust me. There's just, you can't get the reality of what's going on very well, and that's unless you go experience yourself. And then when you go experience yourself, you're still only getting a small segment of what really goes on. And because the big picture, you're just getting the reality of your small picture. You're still not getting the reality of the big picture, and maybe no one can get the reality of the big picture. But I've done several things in my life to try to get my own personal experience of the reality of my small picture. I even volunteered as a poll worker for the 2020 election and all of that around that stuff. So I got to see what the inner workings of what you do at the beginner levels of being in election polls. So I had a little real experience on that. Anyways, things fell in place for me last night. The job I had for this weekend canceled, so it opened up a window of time for me where I was experimenting with registering for the free tickets, which honestly I didn't think it would be free to go to a Trump rally. I figured you had to make some kind of campaign support, or and maybe it used not to be free and now it's free, which might be an indication that he's not doing well in reality. Of course, at the rally, man, talks like he's on top of the world. So, and maybe this country will be foolish enough to run him again. I personally think after last night, I really, really, really hope that doesn't happen. I was able to video the entire thing, and I put it up last night right away. It got copyright, restricted copyright, so it's not monetized for me. Not that I'm making any money to amount to anything from YouTube at this point. I mean, it's really not even pennies, or I guess it is pennies. I bank like $1 a month. My 28-day thing for the last, since I've been monetized and my viral video kind of stopped generating anything. My regular channel that I do just a little bit generates me about $1 every 28 days. So yeah, it's like 4 cents a day. So it is pennies a day. So I'm really glad that if anybody wants to watch an uncut, unedited video of the Trump rally in Erie on, I guess it was the 29th, July 29th last night, 2023. You know, it's on my YouTube channel just before this, because this video is going to be unedited, and I'm just going to throw it up whether I like it or not. I will edit the sunrise stuff in the beginning, but I'm kind of babbling just a little bit, and I'll pause for a second, catch my thoughts. All right, that was just a second. Mostly what I really want to talk about, though, is just trying to figure out what is real in the world, what you know is true. You can go experience it, but if what's happening is in the room next door and you didn't experience what's really happening in the room next door, your version of truth is really not that accurate either, even though you were there. So yeah, trying to figure it all out. So I will say my political stance has been, I stay pretty much in the middle. I try to figure out who's the best for the country at the time and use, I guess, my gut, which is educated a little bit, but not a lot of it. And, but I think that's one, actually, I'll tangent on that for 1 second, because I think that's one of the problems we have in our country too, is everyone gets their own vote, and everybody thinks everyone should get equal vote, but so many people vote that don't know anything. So well, I don't want those people voting and having more weight than my vote if I'm actually going to put a little bit of effort into figuring out who I should vote for. Someone that just, I don't know, bases their vote on what some reality star or some movie star tells them they should vote, and don't really put any effort into making up their mind on who they should vote for. I don't know why their vote should count as much as somebody that actually puts a lot of effort into voting and researches everything, which way more than I do. I mean, there's people that research things way more than I do, to come up with what they want or they think is best for the country. And I think those people's votes should actually count way more than mine. So that's something I think is really wrong with our society, and why part of the reason I support Trump on this whole election fraud thing too is, you know, let's just say there was no fraud at all and it was all totally legit. I still believe that the Democrats still kind of cheated, because they used COVID to generate a situation where they could make their system work, a system that they know is going to work better for them, work for them. And, you know, there was more votes cast in 2020 than ever before. Well, it was super duper easy to vote, and people that were super duper lazy could just vote without making any effort at all. And that's why I clearly believe in voter ID laws and, you know, a little bit of work to do a mail-in ballot. I think if you want to mail in your ballot and vote remotely, you should have every opportunity to do so, but I don't think it should be made super duper easy for you, so you're walking around this earth as a brainless idiot, just listening to what some celebrity tells you, and your vote counts as much as people that actually put some effort into it. I think that's a problem. I think that's really what happened in the 2020 election too, is you just got a lot more votes of people that, and there could, just because there's no evidence of fraud doesn't mean there wasn't any fraud. That as well. I mean, there's definitely anybody that had a elderly parent or something in their house could have easily have voted for their elderly parent, and their elderly parent would have never known about it. Is that fraud? Yes, definitely. Is it provable? Absolutely not. Is it enough to really make a difference? Who knows? But those are some of my thoughts there, and I am babbling a little bit extra. I'm not really talking about Trump. So the Trump rally last night, for me, bottom line is it was disturbing. He went on for an hour and 45 minutes. Like I said previously, his January 6th speech, I think, was only an hour. Somehow this went on almost twice as long. It was an endurance race for me just to keep videoing the whole thing. There was a lot of people there, but not as, that was probably pretty much as I expected. I mean, it was staged with most of the people were behind him and not in front of him. I got up and left my seat that I was kind of placed in so I could get a better view, and actually sat in front of him so I could, and if you look at my video, you'll see that the crowd behind him, there's definitely a lot of crowd behind him, but then I was at the edge of the crowd on the backside, and there was quite a few empty seats in there still, where quite a few more people could have been there. But clearly there's a bunch of people, and there was a bunch of people that were somewhat excited to be there for the whole hour and 45 minutes. I didn't notice a whole lot of people leaving, even though if I wasn't doing a video and there for the experience, I would have been gone. I would have been gone after the first half an hour that he talked, because the rest of it was just all repetitive. And even though I don't like him, I still kind of wanted to like him. I think I was trying to say that earlier, that, you know, I do have, where I like to see the good in people and give them the benefit of the doubt and have their best, believe that they have their best intentions of what they're doing. And a lot of people just don't. I still don't know exactly my full opinion of him, and I don't think I'll ever know my full opinion of him unless I meet him and work for him for a few months or something like that. Then maybe I can have a real honest idea of what I think of the man. But politically, it's really hard to know what you think of him, because you got two sides. One side's so against him, and the other side is so for him. And reality is usually in between, which is what I kind of observed with the crowd anyways. Something easy to note is there was a lot of people there. Not as full as it could be, but certainly not an empty venue. And it wasn't super duper high energy, like a sporting event or a concert or something like that, but it was relatively high energy. I mean, I guess I would say I had the feeling like the home team lost after I left, after it was over, and I'm using the restroom before I leave and just ready to get the hell out of there. I feel like the home team lost. So, and maybe that's a sign of him losing popularity, which I think is a good thing, because the Democrats hate him so much that it's causing problems for our country, that he's still in it, and it's driving them to do some really heinous stuff, in my mind, that they just won't stop going after him, and making it harder and harder for quality people to actually step up and lead our country, which part of my big issue right now is I can't stand Biden. I think he's a horrible president, and you know, and he's and Trump, I didn't really like Trump that well either. And although I do think he had a lot of good policies and actually did do a lot of stuff and kept us safe and kept us out of war, I mean, that stuff is real, and when I don't think Trump talked enough about that in his speech. He just barely touched on basically his greatest accomplishment, as far as I'm concerned. It can actually be proven. You know, the United States entered no wars, no conflicts while he was president. So, and then Russia and Ukraine got into one of the bigger ones of our day shortly after he wasn't president. So there's no way. It's one of those things you can't know, is what it would have been if he would have been president of the United States, and maybe he could have stopped Russia from invading Ukraine. But of course, he thinks he can, or could have. And I think the chances of Russia not invading Ukraine was much higher had. Make sure I say that right. The chances are much higher that Russia would not have invaded Ukraine if Trump was president. I do think there's some truth to the weakness that the current Democratic leader is showing for our country. But that's my opinions. And like I said, I'm not a master political guy, so I'm just a jack of all. And that's kind of, that's my beliefs on that. I'm going to take a second and then... Alright, I guess I really just want to wrap this up. I'm tangenting all over the place, but hopefully it's an interesting enough video to watch. Get some of my thoughts on last night. And bottom line, I was disturbed. I was very disappointed. I come away from it really not wanting him to be the Republican nominee this time. I was already not wanting him, but after watching it, I'm more secure in that camp. If it was only 15 minutes or a half an hour, and high energy the whole time, I probably would have came away from it with a little different attitude. But you know, watch the video, the whole thing. Skip through a lot of it. Watch it at double speed or whatever you got to do to try to get through it. What really bothered me is he put it, almost make it like, I don't want to say cult, like to help those people out that try to make the MAGA group folks, for whatever you want to label them or call them or whatever, the people that truly support Trump. I don't really want to make them into a cult, but I know a lot of Democratic people like to say that, and I think they need to, the people that say that need to look in the mirror, because I think there's more of a cult on the Democratic side than the Republican side. But the extremes on either side, I think, could be considered a cult. Yeah, there's a little honesty for you. But I don't know. It played some music and redid his talking points under this somber, I don't know, music that, you know, if we don't act, kind of make it feel like our country's dying. And, you know, to me it was just over the top theatrics, and it just disgusted me the whole time. But I don't know. I tried to video the crowd just to see, you know, if the crowd was feeling what I was feeling, and I kind of don't think they did. I kind of got that they were, I wouldn't say completely eating it up, because like I said, I felt like the hometown team lost after we left the convention. I think a lot of people weren't as impressed with Trump as maybe they were ahead of time. But at the same time, they stayed for the whole thing. Most people stayed for the whole thing. So, and I did too. Guilty, but I was sitting there videoing the whole thing, thinking it was going to be cool that I at least had it documented as a video, and oh, my arm was so tired. So, but I don't know, I was probably staying for the whole thing too, just because of, you know, it's there for an experience. But I guarantee you, my heart wasn't in it the whole time. It's like you're running a race and you know you want to get to the finish line. It was more why I was still there. I felt like it was an endurance thing. And I had to stay for it also. Maybe a lot of the other people did too. There was a little bit of energy a couple times. I was kind of hoping for a ton of energy at the end, but there definitely wasn't that either. But I wonder what it was like 4 years ago, or well, 3 years before the 2020 election, and then before the 2016 election. I didn't get to experience either one of those, and I don't know if there's a way to find them online. Hopefully, usually there probably is if you want to, but I don't know if I could endure. I'd have to watch it at quadruple speed or something to get through it. I'm just curious how much more energy there was at those past rallies or whatever. All right, I babbled on long enough. Don't know if anyone's going to care to watch any of this, but I'll probably throw it up there. And remember, jack of all is better than a master of one. And yeah, watch the small-time YouTubers. You can definitely get honesty out of us, because we're not in it for any kind of money at this point, unless we're just trying to fake it to make it or whatever. I'm definitely not doing that. So this is some of my honest opinions, and something that I know a little bit about, but not a lot of it. And hopefully our country can get rid of both of the last two nominees, and we can have a good election in 2024 with two new people, which is one of the best things. I thought in 2020, I thought if there's anything good that's going to happen is we're not going to have either of these two idiots in 2024. And now I'm left with this sinking feeling that there's a chance we got both of these idiots again running in 2024. So hopefully get out there, get politically motivated a little bit. Don't just grab your easy come melon ballot and send it in, because I don't think your vote should count. You know, if you're one of the few that actually take the effort to get your melon vote and mail it in, I definitely want yours to count. Learn about it. Do the right, so you can make your right decision. And we need to participate more early. I guess that's my one big takeaway. Participate more early. That's what disgusted me in 2020 when they put Biden up there, when there could have been many other good possibilities. I'm going to spend a little bit more time looking into the Forward Party and Andrew Yang. Without knowing much, a little bit I do know. I do have some interest in him, and hopefully, I think he might be somebody good with the right intentions, that's got the right background to lead this country in what's going to be a lot of changing times coming up with AI and everything else. And if we got old men leading the country, hopefully they got good younger people underneath them, because I don't know, we need some young blood. Anyways, I'm Brad, jack of all, master of none, out for now. All right, quick shot of the view up here though before I come down. Just a little encore to the video if you're still here. It's my $3,000 flagpole.